Good afternoon. It's Friday, and my internet has farted already. Excellent. Well done for that internet. So, today, hopefully, I'm going to do my best. The migraine of yesterday is continuing. If anything, slightly worse, just to cheer me up. So, let's see if we can do our best today. So, let's start with triangle, because, well, triangle is a thing. So let's see where we're at. We don't need you yet. We kind of need you, because we have to tackle the square in the middle. So we need you. We need 2 of you and 2 of you. And 2 of you. Ooh, pins. Pins would be useful. So to all of you who are not basking in the glory of love of another today, worry not, you're not alone. And there's nothing wrong with it, to be fair. I've done my best to alleviate my migraine. I've taken all the things for which I have available to me as a solution. It hasn't made any difference, but anyway, I've done my best. There we go. Right, so we've done you, back to the middle. So let's move you up, because we do need the space. Move the pins. You are now dealt with for now. It's going to get awfully busy in the middle here. Oh, itch. did you grumble, my little man? You're sighing and grumbling back here. Oh dear. It's a hard life being a dog, you know. It is. Very hard life. Hey, Naughty Cat, how you doing? How are you on this lovely day? Or maybe not quite so lovely, depends on your point of view. How's Naughty Cat doing? Yeah, could do with being a bit warmer. I'm not going to deny that one. You have a point, my friend. You definitely have a point. I missed you the last couple of days. You missed me cursing some knots as I did 5 pairs of bobbins down here. Knots. Thank you. I'm not quite myself today. I've got a migraine that's hanging on from yesterday. Let me turn this off again. For years now, I have had migraines, and I get a lot of them, almost every day. But some, oh, don't you start, dog. And annoying small brown dogs do not help. Because their whininess is just the right pitch. But I don't know why she's whining. They're acting like there's someone outside. Hang on. Let me check. Because the answer's probably not. Or it'll be for next door. And I've had this for the best part of 30 years. And like anything that you've had for a really long time, you get used to it. And, you know, you get facetious management comments such as, well, if I had a migraine, I couldn't work. Well, boss, if I took time off every time I had a migraine and felt really shitty, you'd have sacked me by now because I would basically never be at work. So you have to kind of work through it because, well, bills require it. And there are days when it's easier to work through than others because, not every migraine's the same. But I can usually tell if it's the same migraine or a different one. Now, my longest migraine to date was over 6 weeks. Now, migraines are supposed to be like 15-20 minutes. Mine never have been. Mine have been, ever since I started having them, have been hours. Often it is days, and I know it's the same one. It is slightly better when I sleep, but I can tell when I've slept with a migraine. I have very specific kind of dream feelings, for want of a better word, when I have migraines. And I've had this one a couple of days now, and it's getting on my nerves. And it is quite good, to be fair. But at the same time, sometimes napping helps them, sometimes napping doesn't. Napping is not helping. So clearly, I could have said, screw it, live without stream, bug you all. But I'd be sitting here bored if I did, so I might as well do this. So I'm not quite myself today. And could kind of do without, to be honest. Could really do without. But I'm trying. I should get points for trying. We might do some more of the Flanders Square later, given that it is Valentine's Day and the Flanders Square is pink and heart-shaped. Just for a bit of variation, because we did some yesterday. Yeah, I mean, I do know that my migraines. Now, my dad used to get migraines when he ate interesting food. Well, basically, if it wasn't bland, he got a migraine. So it's kind of in the family. Although my dad was never on medication for it, and I don't remember him ever going to the doctors with it. Mine was caused because I broke a car steering wheel with my head. Now, the interesting problem with that, when I had my car accident, for which I rearranged quite a bit of myself, the one thing they didn't do, despite the fact that I've got a scar that goes from the base of my chin all the way through my lips and up inside my nose to the top of my nose, it doesn't kind of stop at the bottom, it goes all the way up there. And this is because that's the path the tooth I lost took. No one ever gave me a head scan. No one. And since the migraines got worse, round about the time menopause started, I mean, they were bad. No, and mine definitely isn't to do with diet. It can be made worse by being hungry. It can be made worse by being dehydrated. But I could eat, the strongest cheese and a big fat, nuclear curry, and it doesn't give me a migraine. I could eat my body weight in chocolate, and I've tried. That doesn't give me a migraine. So it's not... Yeah, I mean, we've all been down those routes, right? All those lovely thoughts that parents kind of go, have you tried this? Yes, Mum. But, for me, my migraines come because they bloody can. I have not diagnosed any more rhyme nor reason. I mean, quite often the migraines are light by migraine standards. And so I'm cool with that because, well, it's light. I mean, you know. But there are times when it's not. And it's the when it's not that are clearly the problem. So I'm on some pills to help prevent migraines. And for the most part, they do help. Because, you know, I now only primarily usually get the lighter form of migraine. Now, I know that a lot of people go, oh, well, they're not working then. Well, they are, because I used to get real blinders every day. Now I don't get them every day. They really help. They could help more, I'm not going to deny that. But they really do help. But today is definitely a bit of a blinder. Now, my glasses, like you've mentioned, are not helping. Well, this is the thing. I've got Smitropan, which is, you know, take this at the start of a migraine. Actually, what it mainly does is make me feel really weird. It's hard to explain it, but it's like being cold and about to shiver, but without actually ever doing it, and slightly nauseous. Now, when you've got a migraine brewing, these are not additional feelings you need. They're really not. So to be honest, I try not to take them because, well, they just really make me feel weird. I also take some ibuprofen because, well, frankly, I'll take everything, you know, if it'll help. And there are lots of things you can take all at the same time. So, for example, you can take, I do not advise it, but this is definitely not medical advice, but medically, you can have paracetamol, aspirin, ibuprofen, and codeine all at the same time because they are not contraindicating pills. So you can nail shit on the head real hard, which I used to have to do for karate, because the pain would have been just excruciating otherwise. And I don't tend to do that anymore because, well, I don't do karate anymore because I broke too many things. Not technically once at karate, but it was not caused by karate itself. That was me being too fat, stupid, and old. But it is a problem, and as you say, codeine is supposed to really help with migraines. But again, codeine can make you feel a little bit wonky, and it's just that whole kind of why can't they make drugs that just cure the thing? Have you ever noticed that on your packet of headache pills, whatever headache pills you pick, right? One of the side effects may cause headaches. So I'm taking pills for my headaches, but one of the side effects is headaches. So yeah, so yes, I do have. Yeah, I mean, mine, as I say, mine vary, and this one is very much like someone's kind of put electrodes on my head and, like, round your temples. And while it's not the only symptom, because I've got some nausea and some tunnel vision, sorry for burping in your face, I shouldn't drink fizzy Coke is the short answer to that. I've got dodgy guts, which I also get for some reason with my migraines, but it feels like I'm having, other than it feels like someone's put the screws on my head, it feels like I'm being electrocuted across my head, and it's, for once, not just behind one eyeball. It's kind of a bit more in the middle, which is really unusual for my headaches. Which is how I kind of tell them apart as to which bit of me is moaning about it. So yes, I'm definitely feeling very second-hand at the moment. And a bit slow, if you know what I mean. Everything feels really deliberate and hard work. On the other hand, I am the Lord and Saviour of some people at work today, so I did a good thing. I am not in the Windows team at work. I'm in the Unix team. And I solved the Windows problem. Because I am Windows compatible. In fact, technically I know more about Windows than I do about Unix, but I've been the Unix dude for 20 years, you know. Problem is I've still used Windows all that time, so... I mean, there's plenty I don't know about both, so... Yes, I feel a little offbeat today. One of the things that I used... Oh no, I would never laugh. Bad migraines, you can fear that you're having strokes, you can fear that, you know, bits of your body are almost going to fall off. I mean, to be honest, there are so many times, bear in mind, my ex-husband had a stroke in the last couple of weeks. But there is, to me, migraines feel, because they're so head orientated. Now, you may recall have I explained to you my thought of how the body works? Or rather, the principles of the body, which is the head is you, the rest of it is more of a transport and processing unit. So the head is kind of friggin' important. I mean, don't get me wrong, so's the heart and all the rest of it, because, well, duh, that's the main motor. But your head is where all your memories are, it's where all your senses kind of form into a rational memory. You see things, you hear things, it's all in your head. Not literally in your head, if you know what I mean, but that's all dealt with by your head. Nothing means anything until it gets to your head, right? And so, kind of like the man with two brains kind of idea is that, you know, your head is fundamentally you. The rest of it is how you move around and fuel that. I'm not saying it's not important, but your head is kind of singularly, desperately important. And to me, migraines feel like they should be strokes. Because if you get the really bad ones, because so much of you goes wrong. So much, because bear in mind, of course, a stroke is a blood clot in your head. And so, really, how different would it be? How different would it be, because migraines are caused by the amount of blood in your head, how different would it be? So, from that point of view, it is quite a scary thing. And because it can debilitate you so much, especially when you live on your own, that you do sit there wondering, you know, is this almost going to be my final moment sometimes? So I would never laugh for the fear. Never laugh for the fear. Just because, you know, What if this one's not a migraine, it's something more important? You know, but as I was saying, the bit that surprised me the most is, despite breaking a 1970s steering wheel, so real hard shit, with my head, rearranging my face and half my body, no one ever did a brain scan. And when the migraines started getting distinctly worse, and when they finally worked out that they were actually migraines and not me just being a pansy, oh no, there's no need to scan your head. Well, no one ever found the tooth, and clearly it went up. Now, I'm not saying my migraines are caused by a tooth in my head, but at the same time, how do you know if no one ever looked, right? Because even back when I had the car accident, no one did a head scan. And the reason they never did a head scan, try not to laugh, they thought I was a vegetable. They thought that I had damaged my head so severely because I had kind of alien flappy lips, because my lips literally were cut in half. So couldn't speak properly, even though I'd given them my address, my mother's work number and name, my dad's work number and name, my boyfriend's work number and name. Apparently, I had, no IQ, and because I was failing all their tests. And I almost certainly would have said things like, I can't see that. Now, to people like you and me wearing glasses, that means I ain't got my fucking glasses, moron. I can't see that. It's more than an inch away from my face. No, I have no idea how many fingers there are. I don't know what that is. No, I can't read that letter because I can't see. Anyway, they obviously thought, well, they told my dad that I was brain damaged and that, chances were low. And my dad kind of went, you do know she wears glasses? Does she? Yeah. She's as blind as us. Oh, that could explain it. That was all that was wrong with me, is I didn't have my glasses, but I'd failed all their tests. And at no point had they either listened or asked, do you wear glasses? Once a pair of glasses were obtained, I was fine. But they never scanned anything. I mean, you'd think if they thought that there was sufficient head damage to cause brain injury, that some bugger would have scanned it. Nope. Absolutely not. I've read my entire medical records. Nope. I was bored. I had a perfect opportunity. When I had leukemia, it was Christmas Eve, and I had to have a ultrasound on my neck because my neck had suddenly decided to look like I'd been a bodybuilder for the last 30 years and was nearly wider than my shoulders, and they kind of went, oh yeah, it's a little bit puffy. No shit. And so they sent me for an ultrasound to discover that I had got huge clots in my neck, and if any of them moved, I'd die. Again, have you considered that some bits may actually have broken off already? No. Anyway, they while I was waiting for the ultrasound, the porter had to wander off. He couldn't stay, and left me and told me, do not read your records. So what's the first thing you do? Open your records and read them, right? I mean, hello. That's what we do. And it was fascinating because, obviously you don't normally get a chance to read your records. And it was really interesting for me because I've got a fairly good memory of all the things that have happened to me over the years. And such as being deaf and going looking for my mother at age 3 and biting the paddling pool to get rid of my teeth and all sorts of strange shit that I did as a kid. Anyway, so in my medical records, one of the first things that I found was the fact that I had not had all my jabs as a baby, which I knew, not a shocker. And that then there was the deafness. That's fine, we coped with that because I was proper solidly deaf for a while. And all these things are recognised. And then we got on to the, let's call it more recent history. after various other things. And when I first started having migraines, my doctor sent me to a specialist. And I'd always wondered why this worked out the way that it works. So from my point of view at the time, I'm having mega migraines to the point I really shouldn't probably be driving, but right, so I was still driving, and I'd gone to the hospital to meet this specialist. Well, he turned up 3 stinking hours late, so I was full of the joy by the time he got there. And just as he arrived, I'm like, oh, thank fuck for that, thinking I was first. Nurse comes up to me. Oh, this lady's just arrived in an ambulance. You don't mind waiting a bit more, do you? Because, well, otherwise she's got to, put all the ambulances. I've been waiting 3 friggin' hours. I don't want to have to wait another minute. Anyway, they put her in front of me whether I liked it or not. I didn't say no, but I didn't say yes either, because I wasn't overly keen. So by the time I got in there, it was like 4 hours after my appointment, and I'm in in that kind of dead zombie state that you get sitting in a waiting room with nothing to do. Because I hadn't taken anything to do. I wasn't used to hospitals at that point, and we didn't all have mobile phones at that point. So it's not like I could have played games for 4 hours. Mind you, I don't think my battery would take it. That's okay. And so I'm waiting for this, finally get in to see this guy. And he's on the phone. And he's on the phone about selling his house. Well, people do that. That's fine. But you've got a patient who has just waited 4 hours for you. Get off the damn phone, right? So he doesn't really apologise for the fact that he was late or that he was on the phone. And eventually, he gets off the phone and he goes, right, can you go into the little changing room and change into one of the bare your ass gowns, and I'll be in shortly. Straight back on the phone about selling his house. So I change because, well, I am not a sloth at these things. And I wait around. Eventually he gets off the phone again. He comes in. He asks me to bend forward, doesn't touch me, bend forward and touch my toes. Well, I'm very flexible. I can still bend forward and touch my toes. Right, he says. Okay, you can get changed. Oh, fuck. Okay. So he goes back to his desk, back about selling his house. I come in and sit down and kind of give him a bit of the, are we actually ever going to do something? And he writes me a prescription and says, yes, take these antidepressants, don't come back. I'm sorry, what? Well, yeah, antidepressants, don't come back. Okay. Well, I didn't take them, to be fair. Because I wasn't depressed, except for the fact that I'd just waited 4 stinking hours and you're on the phone. I'm in a bit of a mood. But how would you know? You didn't actually even talk to me. Anyway, I read the notes on it. My doctor had written that she felt that there was a possibility I was depressed. Yeah, because I'm getting headaches every stinking day. It's not exactly going to make you the cheeriest person on the planet. Hence, he decided to just go, fuck it, and write a prescription for antidepressants and not actually care. That was the only time I ever really got checked over. So, cheers, dudes. So that was quite interesting to read. Read the actual letters she'd written and... read through what they'd checked after my car accident and look at all the bits. Yeah, that was interesting. Oh, that was years ago. Kind of like everything. It lives in your head, but you know. I think the only reason it bothers me... Thank you, Christy, by the way. But I think part of the reason it bothers me is because I still get migraines, and I don't know why, and the medical profession don't seem to care why either. And so, sitting here with quite a good migraine and feeling pretty crappy for myself, you know, you're reminded of these moments of joy in your life when you tried to get something done about it, and, well, you did your bit. Sadly, no one else did theirs. So, yeah, so I'm feeling a little bit unjoyful today because this is really quite an impressive migraine, and I really don't want it. Free migraine to a good home. If anyone would like to rent it for a couple of days, I would like that. Wish it on your enemies. I mean, you know, do with what you like. Just make sure it doesn't come back worse than it is now. Oh, come on, dog. You can let yourself in. Amy. See, told you could. Stupid dog. Yes, Christy. Welcome to the channel. If you have any questions, feel free. We talk about crap otherwise, because, well, why not? Because there isn't really a lot to say in general. Or I sit here in kind of silence and just kind of do my thing, so... Feel free to introduce yourself. I think this is, for me, a lot of my migraines are multi-factor causes. So it will be not drinking enough, not eating correctly, not doing this, a bit of that, a bit of the other. It will, you know, it will be a culmination of kind of like enough's enough. Ooh, what you making, Christy? I saw that bad bobbin. Oh my goodness. Wow. Someone else with big aspirations then. I'm sure it's going to be very pretty. If you have pictures, you're allowed to share URLs of pictures. Obviously, I'll kill anything not hugely appropriate, but I'm sure you'd be good. So do feel free to share if you wish. What style of lace are you using? Okay, dear God, woman, you're as insane as I am. If it's any consolation, as you can see from the top right hand corner, I've made nearly 5 squares now out of 18. I estimate my project is about 18 months, so I understand. I truly do. The answer is basically too long. And I mean, obviously it depends on how big your bits are going to be. If you're making kind of like my wedding dress had, which was kind of a net curtain overcoat, then a lot. If you're making, say, some lacy parts to go around the chest area, almost like I won't call it an under t-shirt, but you know what I mean, almost to cover some bare skin but not cover it entirely, if you know what I mean. You know, significant time but distinctly less than a whole coat's worth, you know. It obviously depends a lot on the size, but 950 hours of hand sewing, that's a pretty big frigging commitment, my friend. That good on you. And as you almost certainly know by now, lace bobbin stuff does not grow fast enough. We do see videos of the ladies who kind of go, and out comes lace. They are gods amongst men. Normal people don't get to do that. Not for like 30 years anyway. And it takes us a lot longer. On a really, really exceptional day, I can do nearly half a triangle in about 6 hours. But it has to be an exceptional day. I've got to be like so in the zone, and that zone is hard to find. So yeah, my neighbours asked me a really complicated question, and I do feel I ought to answer. Hang on. Yeah, so that's going to take you a while. If you need, what was it, 9 meters? So, yeah, it's going to take you it's going to take you what? 20 hours per meter, maybe. Yeah, 100. It's going to take you a good few days dedicated life for that. I'm sure it'll be beautiful. One thing I will say to you now, if you haven't already come to this conclusion, there is so much to go back and too much to go back. So, for example, I'm doing this square. If I discovered I made an issue right back at the beginning, while I'm still on this bit of square, I probably would go back and do it. But if it's beyond that, because I mean, this has taken me what? Okay, nearly 50 minutes, but at the same time, I have stopped and started a bit. It's like we've talked a lot on our stream recently about effort versus reward. And so, for example, where is it? There it is. I'm also making a Flanders thing. Now, the difference with the Flanders thing is that at every pin, instead of 2 bobbins meeting and doing a bit of a dance, it's... Sorry, 2 pairs of bobbins. It's 4 pairs of bobbins. So every pin is over double. No worries, not count. Every pin is over double the effort because it's like a little mini rose ground for every pin. So you do like cross twist and then whole stitch either side, put the pin in, then you do it all over again, and that's just for the ground stitch. The cloth stitch is just frightening because constantly changing worker pairs and you have to do stupid shenanigans with them, and then trying to get the tension right is a nightmare because there's nothing the pins around it actually don't achieve anything, unlike, for example, torsion and Buck's point, where, you know, at the end of a pin you can give it a tug for good tension. No, in that, once you get to like the edge of the cloth stitch, that pair just now dangles and it's going to be a passive pair now. So of course it dangles at that lovely curved line, and you bring in ones from the side that one of them now becomes... It's just a nightmare. And for me, it's not that the lace looks bad. It's not. It's perfectly fine. But too much effort for the amount of bobbins on that pillow is the same amount as this, but the square is literally a quarter of the size. Too many bobbins for the space, given that it's actually basically the same thread. It's just way more effort for not really any gain. I mean, it's a bit stronger, but the amount you gain for it isn't worth that much more. So that little square is taking friggin' forever. Let me finish explaining this. Let me finish explaining this to my neighbour. They're after internet advice because we have dog crap internet here. They're having issues with connectivity. So am I. It's helpful, so... Dear Lord, woman. I feel better now. My ISP guarantees me 27 meg download and about 5 up. Which is shit, considering I'm paying for 80/20, right? That is a very important thing, and this is where I was going, is that there are mistakes to... So, for example, one of the common mistakes I seem to make is generally leaving the cloth stitch and forgetting to twist my pairs. And even though I'm conscious of it, and I swear I friggin' check, inevitably, somehow, I still miss some. And I'm annoyed by it. But I also just kind of go, arse, and move on. There have been a few loose threads. There is, on one of the squares, there is a rose ground that's kind of missing a bit of a corner. Well, yeah, I didn't notice and basically until I finished the whole square. Well, there's bloody nothing I was going to do about it now. Now, I certainly would say that as I'm doing at the moment, which is keeping all the pins in, which is really not ideal. But there is rhyme and reason for that, and we're trying it out as an experiment. You only really see the mistakes once you can see past the pins. You have to yank the pins, really, to see the mistakes. I mean, if you make a really huge one, you'll see it, pins or not. But quite often, the smaller mistakes don't entirely show up until you take the pins out, such as a bit of thread around an extra pin, the lack of the wrong number of twists, whatever. You won't see it until you've pulled it all out, and then you look at it and usually take a proud photo, place it on the internet and go, oh look, so that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, oh I missed that up a bit. It's how it goes. And you do have to be not hard on yourself. We're human. We are not machines. We have good days and bad days. This is not one of my good days, so to be honest, I almost expect to make a load of mistakes. Thankfully, this is not going to... My item is pretty much only going to be viewed by me and chances are I won't even look at it. So I can afford a few mistakes. I don't want to make any. I'm not setting out to make any, and I once had a big argument with my ex-husband on the very matter, as his wordings... It looks kind of wrong when you're supposed to have 18 identical squares, though. What I think the problem I had with my ex-husband was that I made him something, and there was a mistake in it, not too surprisingly, and he said... handmade items are supposed to have mistakes in. No, they're not. No, that is not the right attitude. They're not supposed to have mistakes in. We try really freaking hard not to have mistakes in, dear sir. Please no, retract that, and I got a little bit moody over it, because... well, if we were supposed to have mistakes in it, we'd just fuck it up all the time and not care, right? We try hard to get it right. We want for it to be perfect. We usually fail. And we are aware of these failings. We do not need you to point them out for us, for we will have seen far more mistakes than any of you. However, do not go, oh, it looks a bit rough. Shut up. I put hours into this. There is blood, sweat, and literal tears in all of this. That you can get DNA samples here, 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 and here. Do not be telling me how much I let you down. That so reminds me of my parents. But secondly, can we just not? If I've made you something, shut up before I make you wear it from the inside out, right? Be grateful about it and shut up. Now, you can tell it's handmade if you find mistakes in it, because a machine does not... I mean, machines can make mistakes too, let's truly be honest. But usually it's because the operator was not paying attention. So from that point of view, you know, mistakes realistically do show signs of humanity. But that does not mean that there must be mistakes in it. No. We should celebrate the ones that do not. And if you can't find any, be really happy and proud for the person who put blood, sweat and tears in that. Do not be saying when you find a mistake, oh, it's supposed to. No, it's not supposed to. We tried really hard. There was an awful lot of effort, you know, because chances are you undid a whole load of it at some point to fix something. So do not be saying it wasn't enough, you know. But of course, there is a high chance there will be a mistake, and you have to be kind to yourself. Something's not right here. This pin is in the wrong place. That's what it is. You have to be kind to yourself and accept that by being human, mistakes can happen, and to allow yourself to accept that, you know, in every, 1,000 stitches, you may have screwed one up. If you take the average tolerance of a mechanical failure, anything over 90 is usually thought of as good. So if you screw up 1 stitch in 10, you are still on reasonable tolerances. Now that's quite a lot. So if in the course of the many stitches that form my triangle, for example, I screw up 12 of them, it's less than 1%. Stop beating yourself up over it. It is an important thing to accept that you will find a mistake long after it's really prepared to be fixed, and it will be disappointing. But that's it. It is just really, and move on. It's like spilling your coffee. It's already happened. Just be disappointed. Move on. And it is hard because we are trying very hard to make it beautiful and wonderful and perfect. And so far, I don't think I made a single thing that was perfect. Oh, except for maybe the very, very early strips of just do, cloth stitch, or just do half stitch, or, But even then I probably managed to screw them up if I was totally honest. I probably did something wrong. In fact, I'm sure I did something wrong. I was 12 when I did that. But it is that principle, right? It is you have to be kind to yourself. It's too easy to be overly harsh and judgmental because we are trying to do it right. Sometimes I notice I've made a mistake because it doesn't feel right, and I go back and I check it, and I've done that many times. And other times, I swear I check stuff, I pull the pins out at the end, and then I hate myself because it's wrong. And you're like, how did I not notice that? How? Which is why I try not to stop. So, for example, I work this in chunks. I could work just diagonal lines, but I don't, because then I'd be changing stitches, and I feel that if I do the batches of stitches. So like I'm doing rose ground on this square, and then I can either do this cloth stitch or that cloth stitch. But I will do all of that little leg of the cloth stitch or all of that leg of the cloth stitch, and then I'll either do that leg of the ground or that leg of the ground. Probably might actually do this one to get more bobbins off the pillow. But it's how I do it. You know, there are very few times that you have choices as to where and what you can do specifically next, realistically. And so I try and do the batches so that I can concentrate on the repetition of, you know, not thinking, well, that one's got to have this bit and this one doesn't, and these bits have got to happen here. No, you do all of those, then you do all of those, then you do all of those. And so I find that easiest, but not everybody does. But I find that, well, I'd like to think I make less mistakes doing it this way. I think I would make far more if I did not. So now we finish the rose ground, which is a good thing. Yeah, I definitely think I'm going to do these ones across the bottom. And Naughty Celt can laugh at me. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Naughty Celt is a master of knots, and I am not. I suck at knots. I have no faith in my knots. I generally just, knots are not good. I don't hate knots like I hate picots, because I really hate picots with a lot of passion. Probably almost an excessive level of passion. Because to me, they just look like wrong pinholes. So not only do I not like the end look of them particularly, I also don't like doing them. So they haven't got anything going for them in my humble opinion. So that's definitely not a thing. Right. Stick for you for the moment. Keep you out of the way, because, well, we just don't need you in my life right now. So, cloth stitch dam. Stick. Some of you. Some of you. You come on. Right. It's funny how I try and level them all up, and then each time I look back, they never are. It is. We summon Naughty Celt by the word knots, and there he is. We love Naughty Celt. He's great. I would like to think you were proud of me the other day, even though you weren't here. I think you'd be proud of me for my knots. I was trying so hard to make sure I did my knots right, and well, I'll do some more in a bit, so you can laugh at me when I get it wrong again. For me and knots are not friends. I am the only girl in the world, I swear, who can take a knot that's not supposed to fall apart, follow the instructions absolutely, and watch it fall apart. So, for example, there's a weaver's knot where you put the two ends in your fingers, you wind it around a bit, and then you tuck the ends in and pull. Doesn't work for me. I go pull, and even though they've tightened up, they just slip straight out, and you're like, oh, it's no freaking use to me. If it's supposed to be an unmovable knot and I give it a light tug and it goes, ha, and falls apart. No. So, I do confess, I glue my knots because after all this time of effort, I'm not having this thing fall apart. This is not to be falling apart. So I tend to glue my knots at the end before I cut them. So I've got, for example, here, the ones that I've done. Now, I have not glued these yet, which is why the ends are so long. But I will glue them because, well, if they fall apart, there will be so many tears. It will be immeasurable. I will be a blithering wreck, and someone will have to come and take me to the funny farm, frankly. Because I have put too much time and effort into this for it to be not making it. No, we are not having that. That is not going to be a thing, you know. And much like your dress, at some point you will need to be able to wash it. Therefore, it needs to have enough gumph and staying power and not falling apartness to survive a cleaning process. Even if I know. So I know that glue is not the answer, but it is. As I said, this is going to be something only I see, so bite me is the short answer to that. Again, effort versus reward. Well, you do, but at the same time, all it takes is, can you imagine, right? I've just realised, Naughty Kel, that you said that, not Chrissy. Naughty Kel, really? I've now got a picture of you in Christy's dressing. Oh dear. Well, in this day and age, who are we to judge, right? Let's put it this way, Naughty Kel. I bet you're more likely to wear the dress than I would. And I can promise you that's true. I technically own a dress, you know. It's my way. Exactly my point. This is exactly what I do. Well, the only one I've got is my wedding dress, and I only wore that for a couple of hours. So, you know, let's truly be honest. And it's only because it is expected of me. I really wanted to wear a white suit. I was all up for a white suit, but I went with a dress for the simple reason that should I be old and farty and have, 20 million grandkids or something weird, that I didn't want to have to spend my entire life explaining why I wasn't wearing a dress. So I wore a dress. I won't say I hated it. I was not comfortable at all. And more to the point, that dress weighed nearly as much as I did. And because, although it was a good few years after me having leukemia, you could still see bruising on my arm from where I had all of the blood thinning shot shit that I had. And I needed basically I had a lace neck curtain overcoat on my wedding dress. So I had a built-in coat on my dress. Now, admittedly, it was a neck curtain, so you'd think it would be cool. No, it wasn't. I got married, I think it was the 1st of June. Or the 5th of June. Something along those lines. Anyway, it was early June. And it was 9,023 degrees out there. And I was basically wearing a carpet. I was roasting alive in my plastic shoes. Because, back if I was paying decent money, my shoes were the best part of the whole day. Trevor and I had gone up to Birmingham once and we'd mooched around a shopping centre. We're not the shopping kind, but we'd mooched around a shopping centre because everyone had raved about it. And we walked past this closing down sale. And, being... Normally, women are really particular about their wedding and colours. And, dude, there was me in a dress. I had no one to match up to, no bridesmaids, no nothing. And so There was no colour scheme. There was no nothing, right? But they'd given me little snippets of the material so I could match things. To what? Anyway, I had them in my wallet because I didn't know where else to put them. So I turn up, so we're mooching around and Trev's wanting to look for some shoes and I'm just standing there like a lemon. And I spot the, women's shoe size in mine and I wander over and there were a pair of off-white ankle boots. Now, I don't wear heels because, well, I am about as girly as one of these bobbins, frankly, which has no gender. So, now, I'm not going to say they had heels of value on there. It was like an inch, but it was still an inch more than I was used to. So something to support my ankle, because I've always had wobbly ankles, was a good idea. And I pulled this bit of fabric out my wallet next to the shoe. Perfect match. £1.50 for a pair of shoes I knew I was only ever going to wear for, at most a couple of hours kind of thing, right? That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. I think I've still got them actually, but I don't wear them because, well, white shoes are very 80s. But they were perfect. They did standing on them quite that long did make my feet really hurt because, of course, I'm not used to it. So there's a couple of interesting pictures where I'm really hot and I've got a sore foot. So I'm standing there with my arms on my waist, as I often do, because I don't really know what to do with my arms. They're kind of like in the way. And I've got my foot balanced on my heel to let some blood out my toes. And I'd nicked either Trev's hat or the best man's hat. And I'm pulling a face and someone took a photograph. It's a great photograph. Just a shame I'm in it, really. I am not photogenic. Distinctly not. So yes, that was but the day was had. We did all the things. And about 5 years later, we undid all the things. So that worked really well. That was 5 or 6 years later. We can't remember what year we got divorced, to be honest. Sounds really bad. We can't. You'd think we'd care and it'd be a momentously great and glorious day. No, we can't remember. We can't remember what year we got married either. So we think it was 2002 we got married. We think. We're not sure. But we're reasonably confident it was 2002 we got married. And so I think it was 2007 we got divorced. But maybe not. Trev has it in his email somewhere, so I probably have it in mine somewhere. We did find it. And of course both immediately then forgot what it was again. We are the strangest people, though, because Trev and I went out for a curry to celebrate getting divorced. Together! Went down the local curry place and had a good curry to celebrate. At some point I will have to skip a stream and go and see how he's doing after his stroke, but He'll be worse than he says he is, of course. Sorry, just trying to explain to my neighbour. Because we both had disconnects and stuff. And she's going, oh, is it my ISP? No, because I don't share your ISP. It's the actual line. Which is why our speeds are terrible. But I'm so glad to find hers is like half of mine. Christ, I feel so much better now. In fact, let me laugh at my neighbour's expense with my co-worker because they laugh at mine. Incoming ads in 3 minutes. Thanks for that. Just jumbled them all up. Well done. Congratulations. Right, sort those out on the way back. Never mind. Bear with me one moment, I'm about to run a speed test, so it might screw my streaming slightly. Yeah, don't think I'll bother with that. Alright. Yeah, I won't bother with that. Not on my phone anyway. Right. I've got really nice neighbours, so I always try to help when I can. I have to go looking, because I've got a horrible feeling I've buried them because they were well, I replaced them because I got better ones. Also, probably don't have spare cables, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, never mind. Muttering away to myself. So I need to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 back in here. You can go back. Actually, you can go. I'll finish this first. Let's try actually finishing the job, Kimber. Jeez. Let's go back to the other side. Now, you go in there. And up over there a bit. You're too short, so let's lengthen you a bit. Like that. You can go up there. You stop hiding on the pins. So you, and you are short, but we don't need you right here right now, so what's that say? Whatever. So I want to put you in stick. Just while I was looking at the phone and then noticed I'd got a big pile of work emails on my work phone. No idea who that's about. Don't care about that. I'm not playing netball. Fuck off. The company I work for is now based quite a few hours away from where I live. And hey, let's do a netball thing. I am not, for the name of mercy, driving like 4.5 hours to go and play friggin' netball. Too old for that shit. I was good at netball as a kid, but I was also 9. Yeah. So, we need you. And to work out why you seem a bit wonky. But you're not, so that's fine. You just look wonky, and of course some of you are longer than others. So now we start fun. Right. A bit longer. That's fine. You're just getting longer and longer because you're annoying. For some reason, we get quite a few planes learner kind of companies around here, and there's someone kind of fighting around, but it's too cloudy for that. I mean, usually on a sunny day, they draw smiley faces for us, right? Seriously. We get quite a few smiley faces, but, it's kind of Windows grey up there. There is, and it's quite low, so. They're obviously practicing all the moves. Oh, look. No, let's not. Let's report you for being a spam bot. Hopefully you didn't get to see it. There are always spam bots on Twitch. They love to try and sell you cheap viewers, or best viewers, or something. And I mean this with all due respect to said spam bot, but according to my stats, there are 2 people watching. Who are you advertising to? I mean, really, you know, if you dropped into Asmongold with like 45,000 followers or something, fair cop, you know. But, yeah, really, you come here. We heckle here. Sorry. I have an amazing ability of picking up 2 pins. that time. My co-worker's having fun. He's trying to... See, you mentioned viewers, dude. See, I had to allow that because you said the word viewers and the word cheap. You can't do that. My anti-spam will automatically glares at you and blocks it. My co-worker is in London tomorrow and wanted to stay the night. Probably not best after Valentine's Day, but, you know, fine, whatever. So, using corporate things, it was offering... I wonder if it's because it's doubled. Oh no, he was only after one night, wasn't he? So he was after staying tomorrow night, right? Saturday night, probably not best for London, but you know. And he was getting some prices around the £200 for his family. When he clicked on it, it goes up to... It goes, instead of being between 161 and 221, it goes to being 422 to 520. Clickbait! Well, it looks like this one made it to the end. Go bobbin. I don't know what I haven't done. I haven't opened my mailbox. Last time I did it this way around. We've actioned your report. They've already banned him. That's what they did yesterday. You have to laugh, really. Come here to cast your dying wish. For we will report you as a spam bot, and you, so far Twitch has usually killed them almost quicker than I remember to open my mailbox, so... It is something Twitch do very well. It's either that or they've just taken to believing me and just delete them anyway, which I don't believe they do. It'd be nice to think they did, but I'm pretty sure they don't. How did you hurt your finger, Christy? I made a sore patch back here on my first finger from pushing down pens. And I mean, don't get me wrong, these have got really big heads, so these are all right to push down. But it was the smaller kind, and I normally use the smaller kind. I'm just doing this because I bought new pins, having decided to keep the pins in. Excuse me. And realising that there was a really high chance that I was going to need to keep keeping the pins in, I bought a shitload of pins. I mean, a shitload of pins. Do not judge, right? And so I made that quite sore. But obviously it depends on the pillow you've got, how you're working on it. I mean, obviously, for example, I've got a pin pusher, so I can push all these pins down without touching, without hurting my fingers. But come the end, when I pick out all the pins, I will make my fingers sore. But then I'll have a whole new square before I have to do it again. So it kind of works out in the long run. Hang on. You want one room for 2 adults and 2 children 12 or under. Ouch. My sympathies for your finger. Freezers are violently evil. There's something wrong with me. Well, there's something wrong with me in general, but there's something wrong with me. I can't even peel spuds that have been in the fridge, right? I can't hold cold things. So freezers really, really hurt. I mean, the fridge hurts. Freezers really, really hurt. So, That's right. I'm determined not to argue with my co-worker. Question for those in the room: are 17-year-olds children? Bear in mind, they can legally drive. They can legally move out of home. Are 17-year-olds children. Now, I mean, I had a job by then, so I would say no. But I know they're not fully legally adults till 18, but they're not really children either. It's right, they're just moaning because a website says children under 12, but the drop down says 17. I'd argue at 17 they're adults. Especially as they've only got 5 months till they're 18, so... Because their birthday's like 2 days before mine. So. So, if you're booking a hotel room, now, we try not to judge people because needs must and all the rest of it, but I don't know about you, but at 17, I would not be happy to share a hotel room with my parents. Not really. Yeah, I mean, at the age of 16, you come into a set of legal rights, and it obviously depends where you are in the world, but in the UK, as I recall from the many police things that we had at our school of, hey, at this age you can now, kind of you can't do this until this age, more to the point. It was in my day. Now, obviously, like lots of things, because I'm an old fart, I'm 53 this year, things may have changed. But I remember a conversation, a talk from a policeman, how boys are sexually responsible from 11, girls from 13. Obviously, the age of consent is 16. At 16, you are permitted to leave home with your parents' permission. Obviously, back then, you also could get jobs. A full-time job at 16. Now they want you to stay in school, so they don't generally like it. At 17, you can drive a car, and you can insure a car. You are legally responsible for potentially a murder vehicle, should you choose to use it as such. You can do some serious bodily harm with one by not paying attention. At 17, you no longer really go to GV. I think it's technically after 16 you don't really go to GV anymore. You get put in the adults. So it is a grey area, right? And it is difficult because certainly children at 16, 17 do not want to be thought of as children, but they do not have the life experience really not to be children, because, well, they're still living in with mummy and daddy and they're paying for everything. And so really, it's not like you're, you may even have children of your own, but you are not necessarily an adult. It is one of those interesting grey areas, because obviously we've all met people who at the age of 12, 13 have been really mature. And we've all met people of 20-something who frankly look like they should be in kindergarten. So, age is only a number. And obviously, well, and that's the thing, it makes it a difficult thing. If you have done with intention an adult-like thing, I mean, for example, let me give a very off-topic example. In karate, if you are under 16, to get your black belt for the group I did karate with, realistically, you do 2 1-minute rounds of sparring. And only with people your age. They are a lot more lenient with children, but of course, children become adults. So if you're 15 and sloppy, you still get your black belt, as I watched 2 young girls do. They then, of course, became over 16 and still thought the sun shone out their backsides, because, of course, they'd had everything handed to them because of how great they were. They were now black belts, bloody, bloody, blah. When it came to their next belt, they were in the adult section. And one especially really thought she was the dog's doodles. Turned up. Didn't try hard, as always. And they said, no. Oh my God, the fits and wails were that of a 3-year-old child. She was almost on the floor hammering her fists. Because you have to do like a pre-grading, so they come along and like weed out the extra shit ones and then make you go for the actual grading, which is like 5.5 friggin' hours. And they went, no, you can't go to grading. Pre-grading, you've failed your assessment. Oh my God, the wailing. Wailed for days. Thus proving, because one of their points was, you're not mature enough. And, I mean, in part, you have to feel sorry for them, because they got such an easy ride as a child, all through their belts and all through the rest of it. They had no idea that, basically a few hours later almost, suddenly you're judged by a whole different set of rules and now you're shit. I always felt that to combat that, what they should really do is almost do 2 sets of belts. I know, one with stripe, one without or something, so that the children do, say, a stripe belt, so it's almost like a half belt, but you are provisionally this belt, you are provisionally that belt, you are a child level of this. Then, when you're old enough, you can go and convert to an adult level of that belt by grading at that level as an adult. So you have to effectively, if you got a black belt as a kid, you would have to re-get your black belt as an adult, but it should arguably be an easy enough job, because you've been doing it all this time. You should know all the things. All you had to do was do it just a bit better. So it should almost be trivial if you were skilled enough. If you weren't skilled enough, clearly you'd have to go and work on it. Because I also knew a kid who was, I think, 13 when he got his black belt. Now, he was a thing of gloriousness. He was someone to look up to. He was someone I truly respected. And he knew it. And I remember him getting ready for his black belt thing, and I spotted he was doing something wrong. And I knew, because he was a perfectionist, and he was going, this doesn't feel right. And I went, you're moving the wrong foot. What? You're moving the wrong foot. It's this foot. He sat there and cried. And because, you know, it was kind of like 2 weeks before, you know. But we worked through it between us, because we were both going for grading for the same level. And he was really appreciative because A, I'd bothered to tell him. But B, I hadn't done it in a, ha, you're shit. You know, I'd done it as, but that's the wrong foot. And he was like, fuck. And so we all got on really, really well. There were people, of course, who chose to belittle everyone about everything. When I got my black belt, one of the instructors went round telling everyone I didn't deserve it. So, you know, I always seem to find them, or they find me, one or the other. So yeah, it is frustrating. Yeah, that there needs to be a transition, because, I mean, even if you watch some of the Japanese kids who are frightening, frankly, you watch like a red brown belt kid who's like 6 years old. That's not, I mean, for their age, it is phenomenal. But at the same time, they'll be a black belt before they're out of fucking junior school. They're going to spend years, so have many Dans behind them by the time they get to being an adult. But are they really? Are they really that level? And the answer, to be fair to them, is usually no. And it's horrible because, you know, they some of them are. And I think that's always going to be the case, is there will be children who truly deserve the moon on a stick, right? And then there are the ones that are there because mummy made them. We had one when I was doing karate. I went to a class and there was a kid there. I say kid. He looked like a 30-year-old man, but apparently he was only 14 years old. There was a kid there. Oh, I can't do that. I can't kneel down for the bow-in because of my toe. He'd had an ingrowing toe about 3 years ago, but this was purely and constantly his excuse. Oh, I can't do that because of my toe. I can't do this because of my toe. I can't do that. I can't do this. But basically, his mother used to bring him because she wanted to go out on the lash, and, well, it got him out of the house. And at one point, he was moaning and moaning about how crap he felt, how moaning and moaning as crap he felt, because his mother always brought him. And I said, fine, I'll take you home. You'll have to tell me where you live. He literally lived the other side of the road, but insisted on being driven home. And it's like, it's literally across the road. I mean, I can almost sneeze on your front door without leaving the dojo. What do you mean you need driving there? You are not that fragile. Because you got to fucking change quick enough. You know, you know, it was one of those, do you want to go? Yes. Okay, well, oh, you're ready already? Oh, that was a bit quick. Yeah. So you're not really that shit then. Yeah, he was a treasure to behold. Not the worst. Although he was the most long-standing, to be fair. We had a small kid. There was something wrong with this small kid. First lesson, him and his brother. His brother didn't stay, but he stayed in the long run. But the first lesson, him and his brother, and he kept putting his hands down his brother's pants. In class. In front of everybody. And you're kind of standing there with that kind of, he was really playing with it. And it was kind of like, okay. He would also play with his own nipples. He, after many months, he got some glasses. Do you know what he did? During the bow-in, I think it was the bow-in, he took his glasses off and went, snap. Well, now what do you do? He was an interesting child. We had many strange individuals, but some of them were really unique individuals. I did have a couple of favourite children who came to karate. I was not particularly fans of children in the adult classes because they were children classes, and so I didn't really appreciate children in the adult classes. But we had two kids, and I remember a lot of children during the break are kind of standing there during the karate like you've asked them to, suck a sprout or something. And they're hating it, they're putting no effort in. But come the break, their hair round like you've just fed them a kilogram of blue Smarties, right? And I remember sitting down, drinking a bit of water, watching these children scream. Well, not these two, but watching children scream the place down because it echoed really badly where we were. And these two kids were sitting next to me, and one of them went, God, I wish these kids would shut up. And I was like, dude, I love you. I want to adopt you. I didn't actually get to adopt them, sadly. But what I did get to do was one kid outgrew his gi, got a new one, and because these kids' family were not the best off, this kid's mother handed one of the two children the old gi. But of course this meant one child didn't have one. So I bought them one. So that they didn't feel left out. So that it wasn't one kid getting them and not the other. They both got gis at the same time. Sadly, I saw them one day and kind of like, hey, haven't seen you in class for a bit. It's been a while. Oh yeah, Daddy bought a new car. Yeah, Daddy was too busy buying a Bentley. They told me a bit about their family and I felt so sorry for them. In essence, there'd been two parents. Well, four parents, technically. And Mummy and Daddy from each had split up. And... oh, that didn't work. And... oh, that's why that didn't work. You broke. Yes. Where's my thing? And Mummy and Daddy had broken up. So Mummy and Daddy from each marriage married the opposite partner from the opposite marriage. So basically two families joined together almost as one. So Mummy and Daddy from couple A became Daddy from couple B and Mummy from couple A, and and some of the kids just weren't wanted, and these two were part of it, and it was really sad because they were the nicest kids. They really didn't deserve that. I mean, I'm not saying any kid deserves that, but there are a few little shits that you kind of think, yeah, whatever. These two definitely didn't deserve it. They were really nice children. I always wonder what happened to them. I'm sure they went on to be lovely adults because they'll be adults by now. But I'd love to know what happened to them. Because I remember seeing them and it's like, which house is yours? Oh, that one. In the front room was a TV the size of a planet. And yeah, their parents wouldn't afford anything on these children because they weren't the favourites. Very sad. Dog, can you stop bashing me when I'm trying to poke a hole in a really small... poke a big thing in a really small hole? Dog. Ramming its butt against me and jogging just to do it. This is a small enough hole that the beds that aren't. I can see Nordkelt prepping for judging my knots. I can feel it in my soul. Bite me. Bited me. Right. Pin back in the hole. Grabbing the ends. There you go. Yep. Only I didn't hold my breath while I did things like that. It's because I can't. Well, I can bring them closer, but it's a pain in the butt. It's much more painful. It's much more complicated to bring them closer than I'd like. Sure, right. It's a bit cold for hosing her down, mate. I mean, I'm sure you have very good reason, but it's a bit cold for that. I mean, I know she's a dog and everything, but... I had to read that twice to make sure I read it right, too. If that's what she needs, it's what she needs. I mean, to be honest, pushing these pins down is a little pointless, because well, realistically I'll be taking them out a bit, but let's push them down anyway. Let's push some of these down because, well, these are all dealt with. This is where you make your finger sore, pushing down hundreds of pins. But really see them to push them with my pin pusher. And I've explained a few times before, but most of it seems to be related to my abysmal eyesight. I can see shinies and I can see grey, but I can't see almost the individual pin per se. So hence I just kind of stab around a bit with these, because unless I get really close to it, I can't. They kind of merge a bit. It's a sticky up one. Go. Right, let's move on to the next pair. Extra cross, because it just seems like the dumb thing to do. Snip a pin, stab a thing through the hole. I realise you haven't chopped this bobbin off yet. Jack. Through. Each wonder why I put the pin back. So that it gets the right place is the short answer, so that I don't end up with knots in all the wrong places. It helps keep the knots in the right places. Chop you this bobbin off. And we do. Screw it up. The problem is because the ends are curly, it does make doing the knots really hard. But I find it a lot easier without the bobbins. Trying to grab the end. There we go. Oh, Amy! Pretty confident it's not for me. Yes, Tesco's for next door. It is not for us. We had our food yesterday. It's not an us thing. So let me change the angle of that a bit. Right, so you two are done. Oh, Amy! Darling, shut your fur. Yes, I'm aware. They're allowed food. They are. They're nice people. They looked after you when I was ill. You let them. They're around. They are. I'll have a look at that at some point. But like a lot of things with knots, there's a bit of me that just goes bollocks to it and doesn't, if you know what I mean. There we go. Snip. Shark. I know it's quite wasteful, arguably, but, you know, in the grand scheme of things, there are some far more expensive things in the world. So, we try not to worry. Amy, shut up. It's Tesco's for our neighbours. They are allowed food. I bet you if I told them you've said that they can't have any, they would laugh at you. Because my neighbours are good like that. As I say, they looked after my dogs when I was ill. Couldn't want for better neighbours. I mean, Christ, I'd pay for their shopping. I find it goes so much quicker without the bobbins on as well, which is also kind of amusing. Well, occasionally it does that and gets around a pin and annoys you, but for the most part, it is a lot quicker. Trim the other one. Throw the pin back in. Yeah, I don't do the weaver's knot for this. It's only when I'm joining two. I mean, I could have done a weaver's knot at the end of here. Be a bit of a waste of effort. I've seen them. I have. And I've said that they're allowed to be there. I did, yes. And what's the point, my young lady? It's my road. No, don't lick my... Rory. Oh, goodness. Is she winding you up? Is she? Hello, Amy. Is you headbutt the thing? Oh, have I not had enough baths today? Did I not? Do I need licking? Am I a popsicle? Yes. You? What? Little fairies? Yes. My beautiful fur bags. What? Can you stop headbutting things, Amy? Rory, stop licking my hand, my man. You're a good boy. You're a good girl. You are. Now can we go back to sleeps? Everybody go back to sleep. Because everyone's good when they're asleep. You're not so much when you're awake. That was it. Yeah, these big pins are really quite in your face. Oops, that's a bit much. Really sent my table flying. It's a bit more in the middle. Through first, dipshit. I remember children's TV used to be a thing of marvel. You had Mr. Bear, Bod, Bagpuss, Finger Mouse, Moomins, Clangers, Trumpton, Camberwick Green, and pretty much Ivor the Engine. Oh, I loved Ivor the Engine. And it's funny how here comes Bod. How can I be 53 and still remember that shit? And the answer is because, well, we loved it. Much like rhubarb and custard. Right. Oh. Well, it was. And yet, half of them didn't have any freaking words to speak of. A few of them had kind of like a narrator. Here Comes Bod, I seem to recall was really weird. Oh, there was loads of them. There were quite a few, so I'm not surprised. I'm trying to think of ones other than Will-o'-the-Wisp. Do you know what? I don't think I saw that. I don't remember Oliver Postgate. Oh, this Postman Pat shit. And Fireman Sam. And Bob the Builder. Yeah, I didn't really pay... I've never been any good at names of actors. I'm the kind of person who goes, oh, it's so-and-so from this, and he played this in that. I can, like, recite, like, all of their acting history, but not who they are. You know? I'm terrible at that. I can't remember what we watched. What were we watching? Trevor and I went to the cinema and we were watching something. And I went, oh, it's Beast from X-Men. And he went, no, it's not. It's oh, what was his name? It was a really famous series thing. Heinfield or whatever, right? And I'm like, no, it's Beast. Yeah, we were both right. There are a few names I do know, obviously. There are some that you know, frankly shouldn't not know. But at the same time... Yeah. Fireball XL5. I had a real thing about Fireball XL5. Not the actual programme. Screw the programme, I don't remember any of the programme. I love the theme tune. I wish I was a spaceman, the fastest guy alive. I'd zoom around the universe in Fireball XL5. Yep, that was me. And I'm not sure I ever actually saw the programme. By the way, I do appreciate that I am not the most tuneful person. I am compared to my mother. I need to point that out. My mother was the most tuneless thing in living history. I can sing, but I can't do it quietly. And I don't really need to give you a full kind of operatic choral version of everything. And so it's very difficult for me to sing quietly. And so it sounds actually a whole lot worse because I'm trying not to be loud. But I can sing. I just don't tend to do it quietly. The other problem I have is pitch. I can do a really wide range of notes, but I go through a real rocky patch in the middle. So I can squeak out some notes, but before that, there's a rough bit. And I'm more of a tenor stroke high bass kind of counter bass kind of level, rather than what I used to be, which was soprano. But my voice broke like men's, and in the most embarrassing opportunity it could find, which was, of course, the school concert. And I'd been dragged into it because we were doing music, GCSE, and a couple of the girls were singing, but they didn't want to sing on their own, so they made us all sing, because it turned out we could all sing reasonably well. So we had to do like Three Little Maids from School. We did a couple of other things, and while we were warming up for the concert, some kids on guitars were playing Sloop John B by the Beach Boys. Well, not by the Beach Boys, but like the cover of the Beach Boys. And I knew the words. They didn't. And I went, you've got the timing all wrong. It doesn't fit like that. And so I was singing along so they could get a bit more of the theme. The teacher kind of went, awesome, Kimber, out you go. What the fuck? So I'm now out, singing frigging solo, and not overly enamoured with the idea because I didn't really volunteer for this. This was not. We also had some Christmas carols, I seem to recall, and some other shit we were singing. And halfway through Little Maids from School, my voice broke like a bloke. And I did the squeaky, squeaky, grumpy, grumpy, which was really quite awkward. So thanks for that, buddy. So glad you did that. Made me feel so much better, you know. Thanks a lot. Where did the lid go? There it is. Well, that's a handful less, quite a few less bobbins that we've got on our pillow, muddling up the world. That's a good thing. Right. I could, of course, do some more by now doing the cloth stitch. So why are you? Oh, your pin's missing. That's why. There we go. You're right behind a pin that you shouldn't be. Come on. There you go. As a teenager, I was really into Mysterious Cities of Gold and Willy Fogg's 80 Days Around the World. The 80 Days Around the World was more about the theme tune. Oh, and Ulysses 31. Damn, I loved that. I was really into theme tunes. Oddly enough, quite a few of them I don't really remember much about the story. Only the theme tune, if you know what I mean. I do remember the story for Ulysses, but I quite liked Manimal, Automan. He was definitely a favourite. He was a real hit for me. I mean, spectacular hit for me. I worshipped the ground that programme walked on. My parents probably hated me for it. It was more religious than religion, you know. I had to see that. We weren't really a ITV family, so I had very limited options. And certainly not Channel 4. That's where the porn was. Yeah, like Channel 4 ever showed actual porn. Probably had some boobs in it or something. Doubt it actually had porn in it. So you're out. 1, 2, 3, 4. I definitely think people of my era have a lot of memories tied to the music of the time, whether it was theme tunes or pop music or whatever. I think we have lots of memories that not necessarily are triggered by it, but that we are reminded by. And then you get into the, do you remember? And, 3 hours later, you're still reminiscing about various tunes or programs. And But I also think one of the differences from our time was that so many things were individual. You know, even cars were individual, whereas today they're all very, very similar. I mean, there are some ugly and some recognisable cars. But for the most part, the average kind of motor looks like the average kind of motor. You know, you almost have to get up the back of it to read what it is. And sometimes then you're still not that clear. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop growing. I know I want you to grow later, but not yet. I suppose you can see there's a little nose just here, just slightly off camera, just here, just there, yes, just off camera, little nose. If you don't want your sister, Be a big fat down bin yet. Yes, we have lovely puppy noses. Let me introduce you to my 2 puppies. Hang on. That was them in their moments of glory when they are asleep. For they are beautifully behaved, angelic little puppies when they're asleep. When they're awake, the evilness possesses them. The little brown one is called Amy, and the black one is called Rory. And I love them with all my heart. But I would also rather that they slept. Hang on. That's right, my brain just farted momentarily. Stop coming undone. You're either too short or you're all falling apart. Why can't you just stay where I put you? Bobbins. Kitten paws are good too. I've always been a dog person because when I was a child I was violently allergic to cats. I'm not now. But, so, you know, should I need to, that's not a problem. But, I, by default, pick dogs. Right, for 1 minute I thought I had too many bobbins there. Still not convinced. But I've got a feeling this is off the bottom and that's alright. That one's one I could have done but was keeping just in case. That's okay. It's okay. Stop undoing! Look at it. You can see it's just trying to be naughty. It's just being a naughty bobbin. Let's tee you back up again. Destroy the world, are we now? So, you four are done with. We can now chop you, yes. Doing it this way is good because obviously as you work this way, it can get a bit busy with this last quarter bit of triangle because there's quite a few bobbins in that and it's all around the bottom corner. But obviously if you've taken all the rest of the bobbins off, there's a lot more space for it, which makes it easier. Now I'm just deciding whether or not I'm done or not. It's just the angle. There, he let himself in. You didn't have to let him in. So no beating him up. Rory's pretty lazy about opening the back door. Now, my back door's not shut. I've got a system that stops it from properly closing, but has a thing that pulls it to. So, hopefully, generally doesn't let all the cold air out. But that also means they can barge out and scratch the door open. It's roughly how it works. She's really good at it. He's not. And so occasionally he stands outside whining almost that he can't get in. So she will go and let him in. And then bully him for being lazy. It is quite funny. She really tells him off. Are you limping or are you just being weird? You're just being weird. Okay. Thought she wasn't putting weight on one of her feet. She's just standing funny. And sniffing about the place. Right, so let's have a look. We have a lot of bobbins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have a full complement of bobbins. And you're all tangled up, which is why you look funny. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stick you back up together. That out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, well, 6, but it's close enough. See, 6 do actually fit on it, but only just. So, I was hoping I'd achieve a bit more than that today, but considering it's been 3 hours and all I've done is that, but I have tied off some bobbins, which is a good thing. We like that. It's 5:20 and my migraine has quietened, so I kind of feel that I ought to try and do some like house stuff before it comes back, because it probably will. So I feel I'm going to be disappointing and have to come back and do some more tomorrow. So I do apologise for not achieving more today. Photograph. As I said, I hope to do more today, but I knew when I started out that I was at a much slower pace today because my brain cells were finding everything much harder work. But we still tied off a goodly number of bobbins. How many did we do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe 10 or 11 pairs of bobbins. So I think it's actually 10. But even though I counted 11. So, which is why I said 10 or 11. So I think, we've done quite well. We tying off bobbins is a slower process too. But as you can see, if that's 10 more, that was 10 bobbins, that's 15 bobbins in all of that. That's 3 more sticks. So that's 3 sticks we no longer have of bobbins and threads floating around our percussion. So it does give us a lot more space and freedom in, because obviously, technically, 3 pairs of those, 4 of those can go. And then, so that leaves like kind of 2 pair at the end. And then only those bobbins. So it really does help. But I think we're going to leave that for tomorrow. As I say, I do apologise. I hope you will return and join me for future parts of my journey down my net curtain. For we all know that there will be quite a lot more of it, considering. Christy, I wish you every infinite bit of luck with your own lace project and your monster bit of hand sewing. You are, of course, free to post link in the chat and to when you start doing your streaming, because I think you said it was going to be, so implying you haven't started yet. So when you do, please join us, share your link. So we can all see your progress and see how you're doing. I'm sure I will speak for everybody else. We would love to share and see your journey, because we appreciate a kind of Hobbit level ring journey. That's okay. You can you can send links to not on Twitch. We're cool. You can send links. We can do links. That's fine. Links are allowed. I'll just delete any that aren't work friendly, kind of thing. But yeah, you can post some links. That's fine. We would love to share your journey and see and have catch ups. Maybe even come watch you work instead of me work for a change. Because I do watch other streamers. The problem is I watch other streamers while I'm trying to upload my videos, which is why they take so freaking long. And because I know that one guy I normally watch in the evenings is due to start streaming soon, and I will probably watch him all evening because, that's how that goes. I will probably do a bit more of my Flanders thing and post that on my Instagram thing and threads and the like. But for those you have not seen, I am now on. I shall have a look. So I am partway through the first. I'm at the kind of peak of the lump of this third heart. It is hard going. I am now remembering how a lot of the shenanigans go, so I don't need to keep checking in my book quite so often, although I do check just to make sure I'm not doing it wrong, but I have committed a lot of it to memory. Hang on, sneeze. Sorry, they're usually quite loud, so I do apologise, guys. But I am struggling with this just because it is twice as many bobbins for not a lot of reason. But I'm not hating it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it like I hate picots. I don't even hate it like I hate tallies. And I don't really hate tallies. I just don't enjoy tallies. This just is a lot more effort for not a lot of gain. But saying that, it would be fairly strong and it would be very appropriate, for example, for being the lace work on a dress so that it would take a lot more wear and tear. However, the 80 billion bobbins it needs to get nowhere fast, not so much. So, hello Amy. Yes, I see dog. I do see you. How can I not see little dog trampling on me? Yes. Amy is part mountain goat. I know she thinks she's a dog, and she is technically a dog, but she identifies as a mountain goat. And various parts of me, which I absolutely assure you are not designed to be footholders, get used as footholders. And it is less pleasant, which is why I like it when you sleep. I do. Got cold ears. Oh dear, cold ears. Oh! There she goes. Right. So, I will have a look for your. Hang on, let me see if I can go and find it. Hang on. Tubes. I do see some bobbin lace. Oh, I see you making bobbins. 5 months ago, you made your own bobbins. Let's have a quick look. Well, I shall subscribe to that to keep an eye on that. That's a good thing. So yes, I can't wait to see how you get on with that. For it will be a definitely Hobbit-worthy journey. Let me quickly share. Oops, let me go back a bit actually. Back one. There we go. So for all of you, there we go. And there was a whole van. I'm sure it was for next door because they didn't come to us because we weren't expecting anything. Oops. So yes, thank you for that. I shall probably do a bit of that tonight while watching a stream. So if you follow me on things like Instagram and Threads, there'll likely be an update for that if I get around to doing that. Failing that, I shall see you here tomorrow with any luck. Good luck, people. Have a good evening. And thank you for coming. Bye-bye.